The emergency lights cast crimson shadows across the dormitory walls as another howl pierced the night. Kanat pressed his scaled hands against his auditory membranes, his tail thrashing anxiously beneath his bunk. "They're getting closer," whispered Zix from the corner, her crystalline form refracting the red glow into 1,000 fractured beams. Station security said they can't contain the breeding den anymore. Kanat had heard the stories. The Phyrexian cubs, apex predators even in their juvenile stage, had escaped from the xenobiology research sector 3 cycles ago. Since then, 17 species had barricaded themselves in the dormitories, too terrified to venture into the corridors. The cubs hunted in packs, their howls a promise of teeth and hunger. Another howl, this time from directly outside their door. The assembled students, representatives from 43 worlds all attending the Galactic Academy on Station Kepler 9, huddled together in instinctive terror. Evolution had taught every sentient species one universal truth. When predators howled, prey remained silent and still. Every species except one. "Oh, for heaven's sake," Bella muttered, swinging her legs off her bunk. The human stood stretching her arms above her head with a yawn that seemed impossibly casual given the circumstances. "Bella, no," Kanat hissed, his translator chip struggling to convey the proper urgency in standard galactic. "The cubs will what?" Bella asked, pulling on her shoes. "They're babies making a fuss. Someone needs to put them to bed." The room fell silent except for the scratching of claws against the dormitory door. Kanat had known Bella for 3 months now, ever since she'd arrived from Earth as part of humanity's first exchange program with the Galactic Federation. In that time, he'd learned that humans were strange. They ate capsaicin for pleasure, listened to sound frequencies that damaged their own hearing, and apparently had no proper fear response. "Bella, those are Phyrexian cubs," Zix pleaded, her light dimming with fear. "One of them killed a Crunian security officer yesterday, an adult. With armor." "They're scared," Bella said simply, walking toward the door. "That's why they're howling." "They're hunting," Kanat corrected, but Bella was already entering the door code. The portal slid open with a pneumatic hiss. 7 pairs of luminous eyes stared back from the darkness. The Phyrexian cubs were the size of earth wolves, with iridescent fur that rippled like liquid mercury, and teeth designed to shear through reinforced plating. The largest one, barely 4 months old according to station records, could already bite through durasteel. They growled in unison, a sound that made Kanat's survival instincts scream. Bella stepped into the corridor. "Hey there, sweethearts," she said softly, lowering herself into a crouch. "You're making an awful lot of noise for sleepy little ones." The lead cub, the largest, stalked forward, its shoulder blades rolling with predatory grace. Its lips peeled back to reveal rows of serrated teeth. Behind Bella, Kanat heard someone whimper. Bella held out her hand. "Come here, you grumpy thing," she cooed. "Let's see what all this fuss is about." The cub's growl deepened. It was 3 meters away now. 2, 1. It sniffed Bella's hand. Then impossibly it pressed its massive head against her palm. "There we go," Bella murmured, scratching behind the cub's auditory ridges. "You're just a big baby, aren't you?" "Yes, you are. Lost and scared and making all sorts of noise about it." The other cubs crept closer, their aggressive postures melting into curiosity. One by one they surrounded Bella, pressing against her legs, her arms, seeking contact. The smallest one, barely the size of a large dog, climbed directly into her lap and began making a rumbling sound that Kanat's translator identified as a contentment purr. "You're all supposed to be asleep, aren't you?" Bella said, running her hands through their fur. "Got separated from your mama and now you're all worked up." I know. It's scary being alone." She began humming something, a human melody without words. The cub's aggressive keening quieted, replaced by softer sounds. Whimpers, almost like questions. "Shh," Bella whispered. "It's okay now. Time to sleep." She stood slowly, the smallest cub still in her arms, and began walking down the corridor. The other cubs followed, their claws clicking against the metal floor. She led them like she'd done it 1,000 times before, her voice a continuous stream of gentle sounds. Kanat found his feet moving before his brain caught up. He followed at a safe distance, his translator picking up Bella's words. "That's right, follow along. We'll find you a nice quiet spot. Somewhere warm. You'll feel better after a nap, I promise." They reached the observation lounge, a large room with transparent aluminum walls overlooking the station's arboretum. Bella settled onto the floor, arranging cushions from the furniture. The cubs immediately collapsed around her, their bodies forming a protective circle with the human at the center. "There we go," she said, still scratching and petting whichever cub was closest. "Much better, isn't it? Sleep now." One by one, the cubs' eyes began to close. Their breathing deepened, synchronized. Within minutes, all 7 were asleep, their fearsome forms reduced to peaceful bundles of fur. Bella looked up and caught Kenneth staring from the doorway. "Could you contact security?" she asked quietly. "Let them know the cubs are secure and ready for transport back to their enclosure. And maybe suggest they install a better lock this time." Kenneth could only nod, his worldview fundamentally altered. Later, after station security had safely relocated the cubs and station-wide panic had subsided, Kenneth found Bella in the cafeteria, calmly eating something the humans called ramen. "How?" he asked simply. Bella looked up, confused. "How what?" "How did you—" "Those were apex predators. Cubs, yes, but still capable of killing." "How did you just walk up to them?" Bella shrugged. "They were babies. Scared babies. Back on Earth, we domesticated wolves into dogs. Bears have been turned into pets, big cats too. You just have to remember that most aggressive behavior comes from fear, not malice. They needed comfort, not combat." "But you're human," Kenneth said, as if that explained everything. "You're prey." Bella laughed, actually laughed. "Kenneth, humans aren't prey. We're endurance predators. We literally used to hunt animals by following them until they collapsed from exhaustion. We're apex predators who figured out how to make other apex predators into family members." She took another bite of her noodles. "Besides, I grew up with dogs, big ones. German shepherds, actually. Descended from wolves. You learn how to read predator body language when you're raised with them." Kenneth sat down heavily, his tail curling around his feet. "Your species domesticated wolves. Among other things. Wolves, cats, horses, birds of prey, even some reptiles. We have a saying on Earth. If it exists, someone has tried to make it a pet." "That's insane." "Maybe," Bella agreed, smiling. "But it works." As Kenneth walked back to his dorm that night, passing the observation lounge where the cubs had slept, he realized something profound about humans. They weren't just brave or reckless. They were something the galaxy had never encountered before. A species that viewed every living thing as a potential friend, rather than a potential threat. And that, Kenneth thought, might be the most powerful survival trait in the universe. The cubs howled outside the dorms. The humans said sleep, and they curled up, because humans somehow spoke the language of every living thing.